It's a great day to be alive. Ever hear that Norm Macdonald joke where he's talking about how great it is to be alive? And he's like, when you really think about it, the chances of it were very low. Like, what are the chances that your exact parents hooked up with each other? And furthermore, that your grandparents did. It's a good point. Every day's a gift. So it's been a busy one here. Colder than you would like. Here come the end of March in rural Pennsylvania. But we're here. It's another day. It's a great day to be here talking with you. And the best news of all, tomorrow I get to hang out with my family, which is great. So I can't wait. It should be good. Admittedly, it was a slow news day for me. Not that it was a slow news day, but I was unable to keep up with most of it, seeing as how, unlike the lefties that you see me arguing with all the time, I actually have a job where I work pretty consistently. So, yeah, I'm glad you noticed, Sparky. Hitting the pavement, trying to work hard. I did see some of Andrew Wilson on Piers. It was interesting. I like what he had to say. Uh, Another Trump team scandal. Is clickbait title. It was the same stuff as yesterday. I gotcha. Gotcha. The clickbait title. It gotcha. How about that? All right, everyone. I got Galil with the clickbait. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It was good stuff. I didn't watch Andrew's debate with the feminist, but I did see him on Piers Morgan. We can talk a little about that. What's up, Andrew? Nice to talk to you. We'll talk a little more about sort of some of the testimony today surrounding this alleged scandal. I'll try to put the scandal of this Signal chat into more of a perspective, to give an idea of how big it is. I don't know, Sparky. I thought that Andrew and Piers, there was some stuff that I liked about what he was saying, but I don't know. The sort of relationships, what should a man operate as, what should a woman operate as, what they each bring to the table. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. But I'll talk about that. We'll get into that as well. We'll go about an hour here. So we'll talk a little about that. Maybe I'll hop in and debate Andrew on this some night. It's not so much that I disagree. It's just that, I don't know. Anyways, so that's where we're at today. Do I have any interesting anecdotes or anything from today? Heard the new Snow White movie's awful, as everyone predicted. Who would have thought when your star is bragging that she doesn't want half the country to watch her movies or to follow her, and making everything uber political and basically crapping on the source material. I talked the other day about the Assassin's Creed game and, the accusations that it was woke. I understand it. One of the things I should have said there is I understand the utility, by the way. Like, I never really got the Bud Light boycott scandal from a literal perspective. Like, literally, what did Bud Light do? Because you could throw a rock and hit 50 companies that are doing worse things than what Bud Light did that finally tipped the scale, which was they sent Dylan Mulvaney a can with their face on it. It's in the grand scheme of things, of how offensive that is, it's like, meh. Now, I'm sure Anheuser-Busch, that owns Bud Light, does a bunch of other really crappy stuff, but that was the sort of tipping point. There were two things, though, that made that an inflection point. One was, oftentimes, it's an inciting public incident that drives people to action, even if it's not the most egregious action. So that's what it was. It was something that Dylan Mulvaney is annoying as shit and was very in the public eye. Right? So that was part of that. And the other thing is, who is Bud Light's target demographic? Probably, well, not probably, beer drinking folk who drink cheap lager like Budweiser and Bud Light. mostly, probably demographically, disproportionately conservative dudes, right? So that makes it different than, like, if you saw, I don't even know, a makeup company like Maybelline, if they had a makeup kit with Dylan Mulvaney, probably there wouldn't have been a big boycott because women are the target demographic for that. Though who knows? So that was, but ultimately it's like, oh, it's the same with the Assassin's Creed business. Now you're hearing conflicting reports of, is it the game sold really well or it didn't? I don't know. My guess is it's not going to be as big of a flop as people were suggesting. Um, for me, some of the stuff people were complaining, well, you could smash up a Japanese temple. It's stupid that you're doing this. Uh, Finally doing an Assassin's game in feudal Japan, and the main character is either a woman or a black guy. I get it, it's stupid, but for me, it's like, is the game fun? Here's the truth: I'm not the target demographic for that because I probably buy 4 or 5 games a year, and they're almost all either a sports game, like I got the new MLB game on my Switch, or it'll be like just an offline RPG. But I'm selective with my purchases, but I'll give you in a second. Huh? But if the game's fun, it's fun. Whatever though. But Snow White seems to be an abysmal disaster, not just because it's woke, because of everything about it. And I think you're seeing that companies like Disney, they canceled The Acolyte. I think that they're seeing the writing on the wall, like, hey, let's let's try to get out of these cultural issues and politics issues and just make mind-numbing stuff for people to just go and enjoy, which is good. That's what you want out of entertainment. It's not that they can't have a message, it's just when the message is overwhelming. Every single movie, it's the same message. It's the same problem I have with late night comedy, where it's like, I don't care if there's a late night. I don't care that Bill Burr hates Elon Musk and hates Trump. I don't care. If I think Burr is funny and tells funny jokes, cool. If not, then I won't watch him. I think that once you become too political, if the politics becomes more important than the humor, then there's a problem. But other than that, but the real problem is with, not that Bill Burr is a late night comic, but the real problem with like late night comedy is every one of the late night hosts are interchangeable when it comes to their cultural and political opinions. Like, it's not like the days of Carson or even like the early days of Conan O'Brien. Conan's still pretty good, I think. But it's like, is Seth Meyers markedly different than Jimmy Fallon, markedly different than Jimmy Kimmel? Nah, it's the same shit. And once it's the same stuff over and over again, you're like, okay. I could put up with listening to entertainers that hate my political point of view if it's once in a blue moon. No problem. Hey, it's still an enjoyable movie. Do I give a shit that the Wachowski brothers are trans now and they made The Matrix? No, I still like the first Matrix. Whatever. But when it's just inundated over and over and over. So kudos to Snow White for apparently sucking ass in every metric possible. So hopefully they go bankrupt or they learn. It's a shame because it seems like that's an easy one to not fumble. It was Snow White. It's a pretty simple story, right? But regardless. One thing I will say before we jump into the politics is, when it comes to sort of like, I know I went in that big thing about Assassin's Creed, etc., etc. This might make me sound like a sexist. I don't give a shit. I'm just being straight up honest with you. Unless there is a review of a game that really makes me be like, damn, yeah, that looks amazing. Or if there's some sort of nostalgia, like it's the sequel to a game, etc. The type of games I play that are either sports or whatever, but like role-playing games, like I might play like, Skyrim. I have that still. But like, like a Final Fantasy game or something like that. I'm not going to purchase if it's a female protagonist at this point. I'm just not. And you could say, that makes me sound like shit. That makes me sound like a misogynist. That's fine. I'm probably not going to go to the movie theater to see a movie, an action movie that's a female protagonist. My reason for that is I have a very limited amount of what I um, spend my entertainment dollars on. I don't watch a lot of movies anymore. I don't watch a lot of TV shows. I've seen Tank Girl. I love Tank Girl. Love it. Tank Girl. I wouldn't say I love. I like Tank Girl. Alien, one of my favorite movies. Female protagonist, badass. But the problem is because one, the recent history of sort of the girl boss type characters in video games and movies sort of makes me think, it's probably another one like that. And second, well, I did say if it's good, who cares? That's how I feel. But there's probably 50 good things out there that I could choose from. I'm not going to. For me, there's a certain amount of escapism that I want to get lost in when I'm playing a video game. If I'm playing a sports game, I like to create my character in baseball. His name's Joe Boober. So I've been playing baseball games since probably like 2014. And Joe Boober's like a 6'7" redhead that's like 300 pounds. He's always a first baseman. Joe Boober. My wife gets tired of hearing it. I'll be like, oh, Joe Boober, like 5 home runs away from breaking the single season home run record. That's, you know. So I just kind of am like, that doesn't mean that the game's shit. There very well could be plenty of games with female protagonists that are fantastic. Maybe Assassin's Creed's fantastic. I don't know. That's my question. Is it good or not? If it's good, I could forgive a lot of the surrounding stuff. Well, you could choose to, have a gay romance. I don't care. Cody Folsom, thanks for the $5. I said, hope all is well, Rob. Boober hits dingers, I'm sure. Boober's killing it. In the new MLB The Show, though, I'm struggling. He's batting like 400, but maybe like 23, 24 home runs. So remind me of that NSA lawyer mullet baby. We'll talk about that. The new MLB The Show, I don't know. It's basically the same as the last one. The only mode I play really is the Road to the Show, where you start as the minor leagues and you work your way up as a single player. I don't like the way they did the statistic system this time as much, though I've only probably played it 3 hours or so I don't know. But as far as the gameplay itself, it seems pretty similar to me. So I pissed away another $60. This is what I'm talking about, though. So anyways, I've thought about that. Like, I think I'll probably end up watching some night when my son goes to bed. I'll convince my wife to watch the Mad Max Furiosa movie. I actually like that actress that plays Furiosa. I thought she has been pretty good in some things I've seen. And it looks like a good movie, but I wasn't going to go see it in theaters. If it was Mad Max starring Mad Max, I may have gone to theaters. But I wasn't going to go see a Mad Max movie without Mad Max and a female protagonist. Do I have a favorite actress? That's a good question. I like a lot of older actresses. So I was always a big fan of Carol Burnett and the Carol Burnett Show. And like when you would see people like that, I thought Anna Gasteyer for comedies on SNL, I always enjoyed her. I'm trying to think like action type movie actress. I always thought Julianne Moore and The Big Lebowski. I really liked her in that and in other movies. But I'm about to name it. Selma Hayek. I don't know how good of an actress Selma Hayek is, but she's attractive and she's always been attractive. She's never been terrible. I can't name you a movie that I've watched, though, other than slop that I watch at work. One of the people I work with really loves the straight-to-Amazon horror movies. I'm thoroughly convinced with someone with zero background in movie making that I can make a better movie than 80% of the straight-to-Amazon horror movies. Almost all of them are like found footage. Hey, we're ghost hunters. We're hunting for ghosts at this asylum. There's one called Grave Encounters I actually liked with that premise, but It's like always the same shit, this found footage stuff. And it's like, I swear to God, I could make a better movie than this. It's terribly acted. The actress that was in, what's the name of that movie? Oh shit, I can't think of it now. It was like a horror movie. It's a single name. And then the director went on to direct this movie, Midsummer. What was the first one called? I thought she was tremendous in that movie. Oh shit, why can't I think of the name of it? No, not The Ring. Uh, no, not The Witch. Shit, what's the name of it? Heritage? No. Uh, no, not it. Hereditary. That's it. Yes. Yeah, that actress was. That's a creepy ass movie. That actress carried that movie as far as I was concerned. I don't know her name though, but she was fantastic. I would watch her in something again. But I'll be honest, horror movies aren't my favorite. But as anyone who's a husband knows, or a father, or I guess a wife, or my unique position is most of the television and movies I watch are either when I'm at home, it's through my 4-year-old watching what he wants, or when I'm at work, it's the people I'm working with, what they want to watch. And so mostly it's horror movies. And I'm not a big, I like some horror movies. I don't like the like torture stuff. So I thought Saw was good, and the second Saw was okay, but then it just seemed to get gratuitous. I never liked like Hostel, like the Eli Roth movie, and so many movies just go that way now. For me, a scary movies like Jaws. Jaws is a fantastic movie, and I would consider a horror movie. Scary as shit. Scariest single scene. How did we get on this? Like we're 15 minutes in. The scariest scene I've ever seen in a movie that like creeped me out. And I was younger when I saw it, but it's still a fantastic scene. There's a movie called Talk Radio. And I believe it's an Oliver Stone movie. It's one of his first movies. If I'm not mistaken, his second movie? His first movie, I think it's also good, called El Salvador, that stars James Woods. That's a good movie. But then Talk Radio, it stars, oh man, what's his name? Eric Bogosian. And it's loosely based on a true story of this shock jock, sort of left-wing talk radio dude who, and in real life got murdered by an extremist. Anyways, there's this scene in the movie, not spoiler alert for a movie from the 80s or early 90s. There's the plot of the movie is basically it's just 2 nights with this shock jock. And the first night he thinks he's getting nationally syndicated, and then he's super excited. And then he goes into work the next day and realizes that they canceled the deal. So he's like, crashes out. And he's like, screw it, don't screen the calls. We're taking everyone tonight. Vita for $2 says, watch The Ritual. It's an awesomely scary movie. Yeah, I've seen that one. It is good. About the like forest monster and shit, and the dude's getting lost in the woods. Yeah, that's a good one. It's very good. It's creepy, man. There's some gore in it. I don't mind some gore, but it's got to fit the plot, So anyways, the talk radio, he's taking all these calls from these crazy people, and then this dude calls in, and he's basically telling this radio host live that he is the guy that the police are looking for that is a serial assaulter of women. And it's just, the whole scene's just, like the whole movie's basically just one guy as a shock jock and people calling in. You don't even see their faces. You just see this dude. And the guy's like intensely explaining like what he's going to do to this woman. And like the shock jock thinks he's pissing around at first. And then you can tell he's like, holy shit, like this guy's honest. He's being real about this. And then he's like, starts asking like, well, how do you pick someone? I feel that the voice on the other end of the phone is so well acted. It creeps me right the hell out. Like as like a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old that should have been watching this, I watched it. Was like, holy shit. It's called Talk Radio. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. So there you go. All right, let's jump into the politics. We stalled for 20 minutes. So the newest on the scandal. Sparky was wrong when he said that the White House said that this didn't occur. So let me explain what happened. Sparky is right, but he's also wrong. It goes something like this. We have this Jeffrey Goldberg. Let me break down the scandal. Then I'll give the specifics that I think are going on. And then how big of a deal I think it is. Signal's an encrypted app. It's not the preferred method that government employees are supposed to handle communications through work, possibly because it doesn't retain the information, and there could be laws that say that you have to retain information, possibly because it's not a secure, and so if you're using classified information, there is discrepancy on this now. Ratcliffe claims that during the Biden administration, they changed this rule, and now the Biden administration said that you can use Signal for work communications, barring that it's not specifically classified, etc. So if that's legal, then we'll have to have that conversation then. Nonetheless, what happened was this anti-Trump journalist Goldberg from The Atlantic was added to a conversation where you had a bunch of Trump people like J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, Michael Waltz, National Security Advisor. They're talking about the plan to possibly attack these Houthi pirates. Goldberg breaks this story the day now before the sort of congressional hearing on that sort of thing. That's the scandal. Goldberg claims there's classified information. Now, what Sparky heard and what Hegseth was saying, and this is the confusion that people are getting, both sides wrong on this. Hegseth's argument's like, this is bullshit. Why would you believe this dude that's peddled, this Goldberg dude that's peddled lie after lie after lie, anti-Trump lie, lied us into the Iraq war, suckers and losers hoax. Why would we believe him? Okay? That's Hegseth. But what Hegseth's not saying there, yeah, this was all screenshotted and faked. None of this conversation happened. Hegseth is admitting the screenshots that we see are real, and that Goldberg was there, apparently. What Hegseth's saying is, him saying that there were classified war plans being spoken of is bullshit. The other side is saying, well, Hegseth's blatantly lying because we've already seen that people have admitted that it's true. Right, but what Hegseth's not saying that Goldberg's lying about these specific screenshots. He's saying he's lying when he says, oh, and trust me, bro, the ones that I can't show you are classified. That's the discrepancy. So I saw like Konstantin Kisin, is that his name? He was like, why would like Hegseth and them even deny this? Like, it's bullshit. It's already been admitted. No. What Konstantin's missing is Hegseth's denying that there was classified information or war plans being discussed. Constantine, I don't know. Whatever. What happened to regular names like Rob? My son is Hank. There's John. Normal names. Can't blame me for being a redneck and screwing up Constantine. By the way, my son's named Hank. I didn't know anyone named Hank, really. Other than like older people. I knew one older person named Hank. Now around my area, just in my little county here, I'm aware of two other kids. One Henry that goes by Hank and another Hank. So maybe that's a name that's coming. I feel like I trendset it. I love Hank Hill. People ask me who Hank's named after. I would take Hank Hill right at the top of the list. Right. Trend Aragua. Yeah, can't we call them something simpler? I agree. Let's see what Legatus says. Yeah, there's mention of high-side communication, right? In these chat logs, it's clear that it was sort of from what we can see, it's like a conversation. It'd be like if you and your buddy are at work and you're messaging each other like, hey, what do you think about this meeting tomorrow? Should we suggest like investing 5% of our 401k in whatever? Your buddy's like, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. I have concerns, but fuck it. Let's do it. All right, man. Let's switch to the official company email and have a conversation. That's sort of what seems to be going on. It's sort of like some conversational style, like, hey, blah, 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 blah. All right, now we got to switch to the high side communication to talk about more classified shit. Now, that doesn't mean that there still wasn't things that won't retroactively be considered classified. But it does seem like they were at least aware, hey, if we're going to talk about stuff that we absolutely know is classified, we should take it to these other channels. So it does seem like there was that sort of awareness, which seems to go against sort of the narrative that this was willful, So, I personally don't believe anything that Goldberg says. By the way, what's his first name? Is it Jonah? Or it's not Jonah. There's another guy named Jonah Goldberg. I don't know Goldberg's first name. Anyways, I don't believe shit he says without proof. He could swear on whatever holy book that he uses. The Bible, the Quran, the Old Testament, whatever. No, I swear. I'll believe it when I see it. Jeffrey Goldberg, there we go. Jonah Goldberg's another annoying shit. I just don't believe him. However, it's not dispositive. Even liars sometimes are telling the truth. So he may be telling the truth. So I caution anyone who's like, I know that he's full of shit lying. Because when you say that, what you're implicitly saying is, okay, but if he was telling the truth, it would be a big deal. And so then if he produces receipts, now you got to man up. So he may be telling the truth. I don't know. Let's assume that he is and discuss how bad it is. Let's assume that there was, like he's saying, that there were specific conversations about who would be targeted. Let's assume it said this leader, Jim Smith, the Houthi pirate. See, I'll use simple names. I don't give a shit. Maybe there's a Houthi pirate named Jim. Who knows? Maybe they're believing the doctrine of diversity. One of Hassan's fans, while he was interviewing a Houthi pirate, decided to go join. I don't know, from the stateside. Anyways, by the way, that's a joke. I don't know that happened. So yeah, Jim Smith from Iran, from Yemen. Anyways, let's assume that the chat log said, yeah, we're going to target Jim Smith. It's going to be at 3 p.m. It's going to be in this location. How bad is that? It's not good. But it's not horrible either. It's not the end of the world. The truth is, this shit happens all the time. And I understand every lefty out there that's watching is going to be like, prove it. Let's see the proof. Let's see the proof that happened in Biden or Obama. Blah, 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 blah. We can see the proof in the form of the Hillary Clinton email server. But the truth is, everybody knows, if you know anyone that works, I barely know anyone, but I've talked to people that do, everybody's using these oft fucking official platforms to communicate. Like, let's take the inverse of it. You remember when Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, the anti-Trump FBI folk, they were using their official phone to discuss, like, their romance and how they needed an insurance policy against Trump and blah, 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 blah. Do you really, one, that's probably not appropriate to be using your official communication devices for that. But second, one of the things that always amazed me is, it's like, we always assume, oh yeah, that's where every one of the communications would have happened. It's where they all would have happened. As if it was impossible for them to have, like, I don't know, a personal phone? Let's see all the Crossfire Hurricane documents. But only those that were sent through official channels. Not if they were sent through Signal, right? I've said this. I'm one of the only people that I know that will end up being completely consistent with the Hillary Clinton scandal and with this scandal. First off, fight me, bro, if you think I'm wrong. The Hillary scandal is 10 times worse. This is example of, now this could get worse. We could find out that there is all sorts of crazy conversations going on through Trump's team on Signal. But right now what we have is one conversation that a journalist was added to on Signal. It's not good, but compare that to how many people were involved in these communications with Hillary that didn't have security clearances, a private server that for months, if not years, was kept in her bathroom, that there are accusations that was credible accusations that foreign entities got access to this, unlike what we have now with this Signal conversation. Then they deleted subpoenaed evidence. It's just worse on almost every scale. And yet my argument with the Hillary thing was, I was one of the only people I know that was like, I didn't particularly think Hillary should have gone to jail for that. I heavily suspect that the reason that she had that private server was to avoid Freedom of Information Act requests and government oversight. I think that's why she was doing it. So that her communications, if she decided to delete some incriminating stuff, it would be far more difficult than if it was on official government computers with official government platforms that would have been out of their hands. Instead, do it on a private server, have your own tech team. But it doesn't matter what I heavily suspect the reasoning was for that, because I know, and I said so at the time, that, look, clumsy mishandling of classified information and not using proper channels is something that almost everyone in Washington is doing. Now, if we decide, okay, shit's going to change now, fine. I don't have a problem with that. You know what the chances of me handling classified information are in my life? So, pretty much zero. I guess never zero. Maybe I'll run for Congress and win again. Right? But it doesn't personally affect me. But what I don't want is either side using to break the sort of standard that we have to go after their political opponent. Yeah, Sparky's handling classified documents. So if they say, okay, now we're going to take this serious after Hillary. But they didn't. They set the standard with Hillary and the Democrats were fine with it. No reasonable prosecutor would charge. Okay. No one had to resign in shame. Okay. And they deleted subpoenaed evidence and no charges were brought against anyone, which that should have been charged. That part of the deleting of subpoenaed evidence, that's serious obstruction of justice. That should have been charged. But as far as the private server, it's not good. It warranted investigating. Okay. But I was fine with there not being charged. I wasn't fine with the way it was done. Because apparently Loretta Lynch personally told the FBI, like, hey, we're not, even if you recommend charges, we're not going to go through with it, so don't recommend them. And it seems like they jumped through hoops. The first statement that James Comey is going to make said that she engaged in gross negligence, which is the standard for charging, so they had to change that, etc. But that was basically my take on it. I wouldn't have lost sleep if she was charged, don't get me wrong. But that's basically my take on it. So today, it's like, yeah, I don't think anyone did anything here that raises to the level of criminality that I would recommend charges. Now, there's one potential, and that would be if Goldberg somehow hacked his way. He wasn't invited, but he hacked his way into this chat, which I don't believe anyone's alleging. Other than that, you saw people today saying, Democrats saying, we want to see the transcripts. Maybe congressional oversight will subpoena the transcripts. Then Trump's team should delete everything. Simple. That's the standard. That's the standard set through Hillary's team. You heard them saying, well, Signal deletes things every 30 days. Cool. Be like, well, clearly we had the implicit understanding, seeing as how we were using a platform that we knew was going to delete things, that we knew that this stuff needed to be deleted. So we had an oh shit moment once it was subpoenaed, and we decided to go ahead and delete it. And the Democrats will just have to go, yeah, fair enough. Totally legit. And they'll say, wait a minute, who did you talk to? Who told you that? I don't remember. I don't remember. That's it. All the Democrats you see, all the people I debate that you see on X today, we demand accountability. Show me one. Show me one that said it was outrageous that Hillary's team deleted subpoenaed evidence and there was no punishment. Show me one of them. Oh, that's right, there's zero after I was yelling and screaming about it. So that's the standard. That's the standard we've all come to accept. So there you have it. Now, should someone be fired? Yeah, they should be. One, it's careless, and as I said yesterday, people do deserve to be drugged through the mud about this. Now, it's a little different if Signal is now considered in an acceptable way through these sorts of informal conversations to happen. If that is indeed the policy, as Ratcliffe's saying, okay. Still raises two questions, though. One, was there classified information shared? When you hear Tulsi and them saying, no, there wasn't classified shared, it could be quite literally that that's true. And if so, when you see Ratcliffe say, no, nothing happened here that was a problem, he would be, if he's right, that it's now policy that you could use Signal and there was no classified information, then he's right. The only problem is that a journalist got added, which we'll get to in a second. If there was classified, then what's likely to happen is it'll be classified retroactively. Will be the argument. By the way, this was an argument they made with many of the classified documents on the Hillary server. Well, at the time she sent it, it wasn't classified. Only afterwards did they retroactively label it classified. And of course, Democrats were fine with that. No, not all of the documents. Some were classified at the time, but that was their argument. So how big of a scandal is, if there was classified information on a scale of 1 being complete nothing and 10 being the most serious scandal ever, if there was classified information sent here, a 3? If there wasn't, and Signal's not the proper venue, a 2? If there wasn't and Signal's allowed, a 1? But as I said yesterday, there is something significant outside the scope of that makes this serious, and that is, politically, Trump, this is indicative of a Trump team that continues to kiss the ass of the very media that seeks to bring them down. Someone on Trump's team, unless we find out that there was some nefarious hacking or something, someone on Trump's team, whether it be Michael Waltz or a lawyer that's working with him or whatever, is clearly communicating with Jeffrey Goldberg at The Atlantic, who hates Trump, so much so that they had them on the contact list and then either intentionally or accidentally put them on the list. That person needs fired. Moonlight for $5, thank you. It says, oh yeah, wasn't there a hate crime hoax in Allentown, PA? Thought of you when I saw this. Yes, there was. It was a woman who worked at a teacher, I believe, claims to have found a noose in a desk. And then they did all sorts of DNA testing, and the only DNA on said noose was of this teacher. Yeah, that happened. It seems like the majority of hate crimes that occur, at least in a school setting, turn out to be false. But yeah, she is getting charged. Legata says, Rob, this point being broken in the story. Apparently Goldberg said it was a new contact request when it was sent to him. He suspected it was fake originally. Although obviously it could be a lie. Okay, but why would someone send Jeffrey Goldberg a contact request? You just taking a shot in the dark? You're Mike Waltz or a lawyer that's working with him and you're like, let's just add a contact request. We'll just randomly point to Jeffrey Goldberg. I've never talked to this man again in my life. I don't even know who he is. I'll just randomly throw a contact request out there. Why? I don't give a shit if it was the first time this person was reaching out to Jeffrey Goldberg or they were regularly conversing. Either way, fired immediately. I don't give a shit. The only person involved that I wouldn't fire would be JD Vance. And not just because I really like Vance, which I do, but because he's elected. I don't give a shit, Legatus. And it's suspected that his initials are the same as someone that works in the Trump administration, so there was a mistake. Fuck all that. Don't care. You're fired. You made that mistake. You're fired. If Xi Jinping's initials were JG, could we accidentally add him too? Nope. Don't buy it. I do not buy. One, I don't buy that this was an accident. How did his name get put on something where even his initials would be the same? So, for example, if I know someone named Jeff Green who works with me at my company, does that mean there is equally to be added on a Signals conversation with the president's team as Jeffrey Goldberg and as this other Trump person? No. There was clearly some reason that Jeffrey Goldberg's name was there to be mistaken. Whoever was responsible for that should be fired immediately. I don't give a fuck if it's Pete Hegseth. Don't care if it's Mike Waltz. Fire them. But Trump won't, because Trump's going to sit down with Maggie Haberman again, who he just called Maggot Haberman. He claims he was, well, whatever. If he was invited by Waltz directly, then Waltz is fired. But it won't happen. That's the real. So in other words, this was a person who was on, whether it be Mike Waltz or one of his staffers' contact list. Why? I'm sick and tired of the amateur hour bullshit from the Trump team from the first 4 years, and it appears the repeat now. The media is the enemy of the people. We're tired of the fake news. But let me sit down with an exclusive one-on-one interview with you. Oh my goodness, they leaked things. They edited to make me look bad. They leaked things. My goodness, who could have seen it coming? And let me just say, listen, I know that there's someone listening right now that this is going to piss off, maybe a bunch of people. I'm so tired of anything that Trump does or his team does that's stupid, whether it be his first term or now. This stupid, ridiculous, it's all part of the plan, man. It's part of the plan. Yes, Trump intentionally wanted this to leak because it's part of this grand scheme. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And if you adapt that mindset that, oh, Trump's team's perfect, they're scheduling everything out, then why did he lose the 2020 election? And you fucking idiots, Trump is unique in that he's not an ideologue. If his audience, if his core base speaks up harshly enough about things that he does that they don't like, he may change. Maybe not, but he might. But no, so many of his supporters are like, whatever he does, it's all, even if it looks like a screw up, and trust me, it's all part of the big plan. Yeah, Legatus says Trump didn't know anything till after it broke. That's probably true. But Tim Pool said today, oh, I think it was 4D chess. Trump's team was setting this up. No, that's so dumb. It's so dumb. You make yourself look like a fucking idiot saying stuff like that. It's a fuck up. It's not the biggest fuck up in the world. And by the way, it would have been nothing to say, yeah, we fucked up. Yeah. Wasn't a big deal. We didn't think it was classified. We think we're allowed to use Signal. If we're told, hey, just because Biden's team did it, technically that's still not the way it's supposed to be done, fine. We'll make changes. We'll ensure this doesn't happen again. Whoever put Goldberg's name there is going to be some sort of accountability, but that's it. It was adults talking about what we should do about a very serious situation. And by the way, we happen to think that was a success. It went off without a hinge, no harm, no foul. We'll do better making sure next time that things like this don't occur. Simple. How many times do you see a scandal and the cover-up's worse than just... It's not a big scandal. This is it. This is the best they got. As far as I'm concerned, the potential Tren de Argawa lack of due process story is a bigger potential scandal, in my opinion, than this. Well, that's part of the problem. Trump won't admit that he made a mistake, but he didn't have to. His team could have. Now, ultimately, I don't think it's a huge deal. Regardless of what you think about the attack on the Houthis, what was being discussed here, it happened. It didn't seem that the carelessness resulted in the mission not succeeding. You're wrong about the due process shit. You're absolutely wrong. But look, we'll talk about the due process thing for a second. Bubba, I don't think you're a U.S. citizen. So getting this black man, we're sending you to El Salvador. You'll say, but I am a U.S. citizen. Yeah, but we don't have to allow you to prove that because we think you're a member of Tren de Argawa. See ya. There you go. We saw post yours on social media. But that would never happen to me. I'm a U.S. citizen. You don't have time to prove it. Again, you can deport. We should deport every single person that's here illegally. I'm perfectly fine with that. Deporting them to a country of origin is one thing. Sending them to El Salvador because they are criminal terrorists in a terrorist gang that was sent here intentionally from the government of Venezuela requires some level of proof. Other than just trust us, we're just going to say that. Similarly, this saying this illegal is a member of ISIS and so therefore we will waterboard them and requires some level of proof before you do that. The level of proof to send them back to their country of origin is far less. You don't care when it comes to illegal criminal gang members. How do you know they're illegal criminal gang members? What will you do if it turns out that one of them wasn't? Then what? Oh, well? Again, there is a remedy. Detain them, prove that they're criminal gang members, do it quickly in some sort of court. If they don't allow you to do that, detain them, send them back to their country of origin. If you can't find their country of origin, then you can send them to El Salvador. Don't come here. What if it's not someone who came here? What if it's you that gets locked up? And they say, you trust me, you're a criminal illegal alien. You'll say, no, I'm not, I can prove it. Fuck you. No due process because we think you're a criminal illegal alien. Then what? How do you prove you're not if you're not allowed to prove that you're not? Because so many people say, trust me, you're an illegal criminal alien. Right, that's my point, Moonlight. You have to prove that someone's an illegal criminal alien. You can prove that they're an illegal alien, but that doesn't prove that they're members of a violent gang. Or a specific terrorist gang. And if you're going to say, we are declaring the Enemy Alien Act to say that these particular illegals are basically terrorists, and so therefore we can have harsher punishments other than just deportation for them, then you have to afford them some sort of due process. Once you say, no, that doesn't apply to criminal illegal aliens, but what happens when you get caught up in that? Hey, I know that guy. He's my neighbor. He was fucking born in the hospital down the street. I know that. I knew his parents. Shut the fuck up. No due process for this guy. He's a criminal illegal alien. Send him to El Salvador. Then it would be different. That's outrageous. It would have been very simple for me to prove that I was an American citizen. Tough shit. Is there one U.S. citizen that was caught up in this? How do we know? I don't think so. I don't hear it being alleged. What does it matter? The next bunch could have one. If you say, it doesn't matter. If the government points and says, you're a member of Trenda Argawa. Oh, really? How did you come to that conclusion? Fuck you. We don't have to tell you. You have no say in it. You can't argue that you're not. And get in the fucking van. We're sending you to El Salvador. That's not good policy. Anyways, back to the scandal business. I have no problem with, by the way, last thing I'll say, I have no problem if once you find out that someone's not in the country legally, send them back to the country of origin. If they won't tell you the country of origin, you can't find out, then send them to El Salvador who's willing to take them. Then it's El Salvador's problem. But they legally came through a port of entry declaring asylum. Fuck them, send them all back. Country of origin refuses to take them back, send them to El Salvador. It's their fault. If El Salvador is willing to take them. By the way, this won't be any better for the people. The people will still gnash their teeth that are bitching about this mostly. Because their argument will be, well, but these people were political prisoners in Venezuela. That's why they were running from them. Sorry. Then maybe they'd rather be in El Salvador? Sorry. There are certain databases that you could use, but they won't be completely comprehensive. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Sparky. I don't have a problem fucking deporting them. I don't. But the idea that we're just like, you're a terrorist gang member. What's the proof? I'm not even saying it has to be crazy elaborate. It's just you have to be afforded the chance to be like, no, I'm not. And to hear like what the proof is, maybe every single one that's been deported, they were able to prove it. But the argument that's being made publicly now is, nah, we don't have to give them a due process. And I disagree with that. Laken Riley, did she have due process? No, she didn't. That's a fucking tragedy. But that doesn't mean that the remedy is to ensure that we're allowed to violate anyone's due process from here until the end of time. Anyways, back to the scandal that we're talking about, the signal thing. Now you hear the big, well, this would have jeopardized lives. Pete Buttigieg and them, Warner, and I heard others were saying, this could have jeopardized the lives of the people that were attacking, the U.S. military that was attacking the Houthi troops. Fuck these people. Jeopardize lives? You mean like when the Biden administration gave up Bagram Air Base so that the Taliban that we were told we had to fight for 20 years in Afghanistan freed ISIS-K? Then we relied on the Taliban for defense? And ISIS-K bombed and killed U.S. service members and a bunch of civilians? Then as people like me were saying, holy shit, they're just flying airplanes full of people out that are hanging off the wings. They're not vetting these people? And we were all told that we were crazy conspiracy theorists, only to turn out that no, actually they didn't vet those people. And so we may have imported the very terrorists that we were told we had to fight over there, so we didn't fight over here, are now roaming the country? Please, spare me your fucking bullshit from the Democrats that want to, oh, what about lives would have been jeopardized, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. Were lives jeopardized when Eric Swalwell was sleeping with the Chinese spy? Who somehow seemed to know and get tipped off and fled the country before she could be captured? How many lives were jeopardized? Was he kicked out of Congress? How about when Dianne Feinstein had a Chinese driver for over a decade? Were lives jeopardized then? How about when Mark Warner was texting about, oh, I got details of the Russia collusion stuff. Lives jeopardized then? Were they jeopardized by Hillary Clinton's private server? How many people resigned over that? How many leaks of classified information did the media happily run with when it was used to smear Trump in his first term? Did that jeopardize lives? How many times have we been told shit has to remain redacted or else lives would be jeopardized? Like with the Nunez memo, where we finally got things from the FBI where things were redacted, and then once we got to see it unredacted, it was shit like, we were told, oh, it has to be redacted or lives and methods will be jeopardized. And then it turned out it was just shit that was embarrassing for the FBI. Everybody bitching right now, all the Democrats. None of them have used Signal for government business, right? Just to be clear. Because if that's going to be the standard. Similarly, though, if it turns out that this information is deemed classified, that was on this Signals chat, all the Republicans that said, hey, Hillary Clinton's team should go to jail, what's their explanation going to be? I think an acceptable explanation would be, we agree, we should go to jail, but the standard was set with Hillary Clinton. What was the proof that was What was the proof that was used to prove that the members of Tren de Aragua that was sent directly to a prison in El Salvador was members of Tren de Aragua? Did Tom Homan go on national television and say, well, due process, what was Laken Riley's due process? Or Bud, I'm sorry, I said Buddha. I missed the G. I know your name, I know. What was the criteria used? If it was, we saw a tattoo, I'm sorry, that's not sufficient. I don't care that it's Aragua. I'll butcher it. Fuck them. They don't deserve my respect of pronouncing their name correctly. Get a real name like Bloods, Crips, Mafia. Costa Nostra, I can pronounce that one. I swear to God, one of the first times I went to Taco Bell with my friend in high school, we didn't have a Taco Bell around. So they put this Taco Bell in the town like 20 minutes away from me. And I went with my good friend, and I'll never forget, he ordered a quesadilla. I thought it was like the greatest thing. Thanks, Damien. Appreciate it. How many times is this going to happen when we're like, listen, the standards that you set today will eventually be used in the other way, and you're going to freak out. Angel Berber, thanks so much for the $10, says, it's a losing proposition for Trump. His agenda can be completely stopped by a radical judiciary, or his actions will be seen as Patriot Act days all over again. He will be blamed either way. It's true, but there are clever things that they could do to get around it. The Tren de Aragua people, one, just because you can't prove that they're members of Tren de Aragua, like, let's assume that the courts back it up for so long that it's like, we have to give each of these members 1 year to prepare for their case. So you can still deport them to Venezuela, so do that. Or you keep them detained, just put them in prison, or send them to a place, or send them to the left-wing cities. Okay, if you're saying we can't detain them, and if you're saying that we can't ship them out, then we'll give them vouchers to stay in Martha's Vineyard. We'll give them vouchers to stay in Democrat strongholds. There. Now watch how quick people's minds change. It's the same with the USAID stuff. Okay, you're going to tie us up in court. Either the Supreme Court's going to appeal in the way we say, or they won't. And then we'll just say, fine, we have to spend this money. We give it to right-wing groups. All of you out there, if you truly have a cause you believe in, create an NGO, and then hopefully Trump's team will smarten up and give you money. Hopefully it's a right-wing cause. Good for you. all of these people that I was debating back in the Hillary Clinton email, the 2019, 2020, talking about the Hillary Clinton scandal, the deleting of subpoenaed evidence and all that shit. How many times did I say, if this ever happens on the other side, you people will lose your fucking mind? No, we won't. No, we won't. The game that they play is they know the institutions that really run the country are on their side. They know the FBI is on their side. They know the judicial activism is far greater on their side. They know the majority of the traditional media is on their side. That's why when you heard me argue with Bisco about how he always, anytime we have a discussion of these double standards, at the end of the day, it could be a 6-hour conversation, and at the end of the day, he's going to default to saying something like this. Well, prosecutorial discretion. The cops have the right to decide who to charge and who not to. And that's just it. So if I were to say, if Bisco is on here right now and I said, hey, you were fine with them not charging Hillary's team for deletion of subpoenaed evidence, right? You were fine. So if Trump's team now, if Congress subpoenas these chat logs, they could say, yeah, sorry, we deleted them. And that's it, right? And he'll say, no, I always thought it was very serious. It's just the unique set of circumstances led to the FBI's hands being tied. They had to give immunity in the Hillary case, but it was still a serious situation, and so people need to be charged now. Kaj Patel and Pam Bondi should be like, okie dokie, everybody gets immunity. And then watch Pisco go, corruption, corruption. And I would say, this is the standard. Why should it be any different? Why shouldn't the standard be the same for both sides? Why shouldn't it be? You set the standards. I would agree. All things in a vacuum, if we never saw what happened with the FBI and the lawfare going as easy as possible against all Trump's opponents and as hard as possible against Trump, in a world where these documents would be lawfully subpoenaed, if they were intentionally deleted after that subpoena, I'd say that's fucking cut and dry. That's obstruction of justice. Whoever did that needs to fucking go to jail. Cut and dry. Okay, but Rob, isn't that the side you voted for? Yeah, I don't give a shit. But the standard has been set. Nope. A favorable FBI could just throw out immunity like candy. And then they could simultaneously go after their opposition as aggressively as possible. As long as it's within the bounds of what the FBI is allowed to do and they're not breaking the law, I say go for it. And we've already discussed, it's the barrier for investigating someone is very low, even if it's your political opponents. That was the excuse given with investigating Trump for Trump-Russia collusion. The barrier's very low for opening. Fair enough. Okie dokie, shoes on the other foot now. Get to investigating, Kaj Patel. Right? I don't want to hear it's politically motivated. Fuck that. The barrier's very low. It's very low. And you could just give immunity to people. But wait a minute, Rob. Kaj Patel's giving immunity to all the people in the Trump administration, and then he's aggressively going after the people against them. I wish that would occur. I would say, no problem, right? Is that technically, is each individual action within the purview of the FBI to do? They have prosecutorial discretion. They're choosing to go easy on this side. They're choosing to go hard on this side. Both of those things are within their purview. So what's your fucking problem? No, Moonlight, bullshit. Admit they were wrong and apologize. I've seen that tactic. Roughly 30% of the Democrats I debate do that. Trump's team obstructed justice. He told his associate Nada to hide boxes. And yes, the FBI eventually got those boxes, but the attempt to hide the boxes was obstruction of justice, damn it. So you think that's serious? Yes! So if a body lawfully requests or subpoenas evidence, if you try to prevent them from getting that evidence, that's a crime. Yes! And that should be charged. Yes! Okay, Hillary's team deleted subpoenaed evidence. Huh? What? What's that? Yeah, they deleted subpoenaed evidence and no one was charged with the crime. 30% of them roughly, what do they say? Does anyone know? What Brianna would say when I pointed this out to Brianna. What'd she say? I guess they should have charged Hillary. Okay, they didn't. Now what? Well, whatever. Charge Trump now. We have to charge him. My entire argument is there's a double standard at the FBI. Now you're conceding, yep, the FBI, dead to rights, had Hillary's team, decided not to charge them, but now they should charge Trump, which they are doing. So no, I'm sorry, the idea of if they say, we're sorry, yeah, you're right, we fucked up with Hillary, she should have been charged, and the FBI was corrupt in not doing it. But now we need to charge Trump's team. Because guess what happens next time when Pete Buttigieg is president and his administration does the same shit? Well, the Democrats will gaslight you. No, it didn't happen. You're a crazy conspiracy theorist. And then once evidence came out that it did happen and the FBI allowed them to get away with it, they'll say, well, it was a long time ago. But yeah, I guess now that they're all out of office, maybe they should have been charged. Oh well, our bad. We apologize. Now let's charge Republicans again. Fuck you. That's the standard. You set the fucking standard. Now, let the standard be applied against you and the people you support. Let's do that for 8 years, and then we'll talk about calling it evesies. How's that? How's that sound? I'm sorry. It's too late for we're sorry. The old Pisco approach. Yeah, it was regrettable that the FBI got illegal FISA warrants to spy on a presidential team. Regrettable. Yeah, how long has the lawfare been going after Trump? The 4 years he was there, the 4 years he was out? That's 8. That's being generous, because this sort of double standard lawfare has been going on long before even Trump was elected. Charging protesters as domestic terrorists will bite Trump supporters. Was there a standard set with charging people as domestic terrorists? How'd they treat the January 6 people? Were they treated? So it's already bitten Trump's side in the ass. You think for a second right now, if these people that are attacking protesters, etc., aren't charged as domestic terrorists, you think there's even a chance that then the next time that anything similar to January 6 happens with conservatives, that they'll be like, well, we'll go easy on them. Because they could have treated protesters like domestic terrorists here before. Now, if you're talking, there's two situations you could be talking about. If you're talking about going after this Chung lady and this Khalil person, I don't know that they're treating them like terrorists, or if they're saying that they are terrorist sympathizers and because they're here on green cards, they don't have the right to be here. It's a little complicated. One, I have not looked into the specific law and what it says specifically when it comes to green card holders. I know what it should be, which is they should have some level of due process, but they should not have the same rights as the citizens of this country. You are a guest of this country. You may be a permanent guest, but you're still a guest. You are not a full citizen, and we should have the right as a country to not want people in this country that are sympathetic to causes to destroy this country. Now, the difficulty is who gets to determine which sympathetic cause to destroy this country. Do we have the right to kick someone out that's an avowed ISIS member? Or they're just an avowed ISIS sympathizer? Theoretically, free speech as an American citizen means I could get on here and say, hey, let me explain to you why I think ISIS is a good organization. Shouldn't be a crime. I should be allowed to do that. Now, if I'm materially aiding ISIS in some way, that's a different question. But just to have free speech to say I'm pro-ISIS, I should be allowed to say that. That'll probably be clamped. I'm not pro-ISIS, by the way, but I'm just... So if we say, yeah, it's okay to do that with ISIS, then why not Hamas? For me personally, I would like the level to be more than just speech. If you engaged in threats during a protest, okay. If you engaged in physical violence during a protest, gross trespassing, not just like you were on someone's property, but you refused to vacate a building, a road, or something like that, I'm open to hearing why those people should be deported. I have a problem still with going after this Khalil guy and now this Chung lady. But if you're talking domestic terrorists when it comes to the people attacking Tesla, the people that are swatting conservative influencers, yeah, they absolutely should be treated as domestic terrorists. Because they are using violence and intimidation for a political cause. So it's just vandalizing a Chevy Cavalier. That's a crime, and you should be aggressively charged for that. I think that vandalism of property is very serious. But that's different than you're intentionally attacking Teslas for a political messaging. And as long as we have enhancers on the book, like terrorism enhancers, hate crime enhancers, those have been used quite frequently. So, the first car I ever had was a 91 Cavalier. Thanks, Cash for Clunkers. Can't buy that shit anymore. If you get convicted of swatting anyone, I don't give a shit if it's conservative, you should get minimum 20 years in prison with no option for parole until those 20 years are up. And I don't care. Leave Piers Morgan and all these shows you see that go to prisons to talk to. Send someone to the prison to talk to them every day. I'm so sorry. I was a young dumb kid. Fuck you. Sorry. An example must be made. Go fuck yourself. Enjoy your 20 years. Because it's not going to stop. It's a crime that's very difficult to catch people, and if you catch them, they have a very light sentence. By the way, I feel the same. I don't give a shit if they're swatting Pete Buttigieg or AOC. Fuck them. Outrageous. Not going to stop until harsh punishment, and not, well, harsh punishment, but we'll let you out a half a year later. No. Throw the damn book at them. Same with these people that are attacking Tesla dealerships, attacking Tesla owners. Give them enhancements for engaging in domestic terrorism. Tommy guy in solitary confinement. Tommy Robinson? I don't know who you're talking about. Yeah, I guess you could find them. What do you think? Listen, most of the people that engage in this sort of shit, the swatting, the thing, like you see all of these people that are smashing up Teslas and shit. The reason you see this more prominently on the left, not that it can't happen on the right, but it's overwhelmingly more prominently on the left, is because for years you've heard people like me and other people smarter than me say, the people on the radical left are absolutely convinced that they are morally superior to everyone else. And therefore the ends justify the means. I show you that video all the time of that comedian who went to the Netflix protest. They ripped his sign, then it looked like he was holding a broomstick, and they started screaming, "Police, he has a weapon." He said, "Why are you doing this to me?" And they said, "Because you're awful." That's how these people feel. You're a terrible person, so fuck you. We could do whatever. We could swat you, we could damage your property, we could punch you, we could hit you. We don't give a shit. You're no different to them than the healthcare CEO that Luigi guy killed. They might not just outright kill you because you're not that influential. But if you become more influential, if you become an Elon Musk or a senator or whatever, then yeah, everything's on the table because you're awful. And they're killing Hitler. They're attacking Hitler. Every Tesla is just a fucking Nazi vehicle in their eyes. So we can do whatever we want to it. The other thing is, they don't have a lot to lose, most of them. Some pissant kid that's swatting people that's like 17, 18 years old, or maybe in their early 20s. What do they really have to lose? Now, listen, I could be wrong. Maybe the data will bear me out. This is just a gut feeling. How many of these people do you think are parents? Probably disproportionately not as many parents. Make no mistake about it, though. As predicted, the violence from the left will increase. One, when they have the moral justification for doing so. And in this case, just like the first 4 years of Trump, except it's worse now. Trump is Hitler. Everyone that likes him is a Nazi, so fine. Elon's Goebbels, you know. And the violence from the left will increase as they lose institutional power. Because they'll become more desperate. And can you blame them? They've been gaslit by every institution that matters in this country for the past 20 years, that their opponents are all racist, bigots, misogynists, Nazis. They think they're fighting the new civil rights movement. They think they're at a sit-in. They think they're in the Million Man March when they're smashing the window out of a Tesla. That's how they view themselves in their head. And then what's the consequences for them? Well, let's look at the Black Lives Matter. Look at disproportionately how easy they went on so many of the rioters in Black Lives Matter with the George Floyd protest. So what's the lesson that you're sending out? I'm doing this for a cause that is righteous. The punishment isn't that severe anyways. Yeah, why not? I don't have much to lose anyways. This Luigi guy kills the healthcare CEO, allegedly. Maybe it wasn't him, but it looks like it may have been him. That guy's probably, you tell me if I'm wrong. Someone tell me if I'm wrong. If you took a poll amongst Democrat registered women between the ages of 18 and say 35, and you said, who are the top 5 most sexually desirable people in this country? There's a solid chance that dude makes the list, right? Moonlight for $5. Thanks so much. Says, and they think that they're majority because they hold a loud minority. Right. Does anyone disagree with me? Even if that's not the case, there's certainly a lot of Democrats that are, Bill Burr says, yay, free Luigi. Yeah, he's a cool guy. All these ladies that are showing up outside of his hearings and stuff. Yay! Okay. What's up, great? How you doing, sir? If only all the Democrats flipping out about this signal conversation, which is, I think it's a big deal for other reasons. I think it's a big deal because it's indicative of the problems that we're probably not going to see solved that came from the first Trump administration into this administration, which is that the priorities will not be right, and that while we talk about things like the enemy, the media is the enemy of the people, Trump's team's still going to sit down with those members of the media. Yeah, Grid, let me know if you need me to moderate that debate with you and Average Debate Enjoyer Wednesday. Let me know tomorrow if you can, early. They protested outside of Kavanaugh's house. Then there was an assassination attempt. Now, the law is very specific that you can't protest outside a judge or a jurist home to try to influence a decision. That's clearly what all of these lefties were doing during the Dobbs decision, the leak. That's why it was leaked in the first place, so that they could put a target on these justices in the hopes that they could intimidate them into changing their position. Other than the person that carried out the assassination attempt, none of them received any punishment. To the contrary, I'm sure their status went up in their social circles. If only the people flipping out about the signal thing, though, gave half as much a shit about the calls for violence. One other thing I wanted to talk about today, it's a little bit of a double standard thing on both sides. Did y'all see that Congressman Jasmine Crockett made fun of Governor Abbott? Was it Governor Abbott? She called him Hot Wheels because he's in a wheelchair. And then she tried to backtrack and said, no, I called him Hot Wheels because he flew, wouldn't he be Hot Wings? Just because he flew migrants? What a bullshit cover-up. Where are all the Democrats that freaked out when Trump allegedly made fun of a disabled reporter? Where are they? Which, by the way, Trump didn't. He does this thing all the time, making fun of people. But they made it out to be a huge deal, right? Where are they today? But on the other hand, dude, if you're fans of Trump, even if you don't think he made fun of that disabled reporter, like, one of the things that Trump supporters like Trump the most about is that he's basically rude and vulgar to people that he sees as the opposition. So please, spare me your fucking pearl clutching. I don't give a fuck at all that Jasmine Crockett said that. How many people are clutching their pearls about that who are right-wingers that call Dan Crenshaw Eye Patch McCain? For me, the shit that I sort of get offended, though I wouldn't say really, I think it's out of bounds to go after politicians' spouses unless they're in the game. Like Joe Biden's out there doing shit. I guess the president, first lady and shit, it's a little different just because they're so public. But other than that, man, I don't really give a shit. All right, she made fun of Abbott for his disability. So, make no mistake about it. If Abbott clapped back, it would be fucking insanity. Because there's things that, what did I see? Judge Joe Brown was making fun of Crockett's weave. If Abbott clapped, he's black, I guess he's allowed. But if Abbott clapped back, something about like, I don't give a shit what Ms. Weavehead over there says. Holy shit. And the wheels would fall off the truck then, wouldn't they? I'd laugh my ass off. I wouldn't care. If I run for Congress and someone's like, oh, this fat fuck, old Tubbs over here, I'd be like, fuck yourself. Yeah, I should lose weight anyways. So, I don't know. It just seems like, I get it. I get the double standard of the Democrats and one to freak out. Oh my God, Trump made fun of a disabled reporter. All these people from the Washington Post and the New York Times, they ain't gonna say shit about the face of the Democratic Party. Oh, it was a misunderstanding. But if you're a Trump supporter, have some fucking thin skin. Good. I hope Jasmine Crockett, I saw Jesse Kelly. He's absolutely right about this. I feel the same way. It's the same reason that I wanted Pisco and Destiny to be the face of the young movement for the Democratic Party. Good. They fucking suck. They're unhinged. Let them be the face. Yes, let Jasmine Crockett. Don't censure her. Leave her be the face of the fucking Democrat Party. Encourage her. Yeah, keep going. Tell us more. Don't clutch your pearls. So I personally don't give a shit at all that Jasmine Crockett said this about Greg Abbott. If Greg Abbott's got a problem with it, then let him speak up. Everyone else, as far as I'm concerned, is pearl clutching, other than if you're saying, hey, Democrats that were mad about Trump supposedly making fun of a disabled reporter, you got anything to say here? Yeah, I mean, it's like the Rob GPT thing. It's like anytime someone says that shit, I'm like, oh, okay. Am I still planning to do a video with Fabian Liberty? Yeah, I would assume. It's just a matter of finding time, me and him with our schedules. But yeah, I'd like to do a show like once a month with Fabian. I really enjoy talking to him. So, last thing I'll say is, I did see Andrew Wilson on Piers Morgan, and I saw the clip that went viral. And I have to say, no, I didn't see the Fabian panel yesterday. It is an interesting argument. I know I've heard Andrew say this before, but there is this argument that it's like, from the perspective of a man, if they're asked to follow by particularly conservative women, hey, we want you to follow traditional masculine virtues, take care of your family, work hard, provide for them, protect them. What are they getting from the women? Because the traditional things you were going for is like a chaste woman, a mother, a caretaker, a home taker. But if you're not getting that, should you hold up your end of the bargain? I say yes, you should anyways. I think that oftentimes it's not really fights. I tried it once with that Jasmine. Maybe I went too far. I do think that we should probably make fun of the OnlyFans people to some degree. I do think so. But Andrew has a point that a lot of conservative influencers are just full of shit. And a lot of the women that get into it, there's some amount of grifting that goes on. Not all of them, but there's some amount. I used to do OnlyFans and now I'm born again. Now let me, it's like, okay. Like, I get it. Yeah, I guess maybe you're born again. I don't know. But wouldn't you have a little humility if you were just doing OnlyFans? to like take some time off before you continue to pontificate on how people should live their lives, which you just figured out yesterday? Maybe let it ruminate a little. But it's an interesting thought. Like, I do agree that sort of the removal away from more of the traditional nuclear family focused, monogamous relationship focused structure that we've had in this country has had disastrous consequences that we're only just beginning to see, and that things will become exacerbated. I did a show the other day, it's difficult to talk about, but was talking about the small state school I went to because of DEI, because you had top tier universities that are willing to take maybe the top 10% of all black students, but only the top 1% of whites and Asians. That means that the second tier schools that normally would be taking, the second to 10% of blacks is now taking 10 to 20% blacks, and they're taking second to 9% whites and Asians. And then the third tier schools are taking 20 to 40% blacks and 10 to 20 whites. And then you get down to like the bottom of the bottom, the state schools I was going to, and you end up with a lot of people that are minorities that probably shouldn't be in college. And unfortunately, it has unintended consequences for those students because they're put in a situation that's not fair to them, where it's difficult for them to keep up with the work. Then it's difficult for the other students who then have to have the class sort of regress to the mean. And it's not fair to students who happen to be black that don't fit into that criteria, that are at that school for other reasons, that unfortunately get questioned, are you here because you're DEI? And it might not be. And then it's unfortunate because people get an impression of this is a representation of members of this community. So if you, for example, have a population of black people that you're bringing in exclusively that had problems in school, disciplinary problems, and they come from an inner city, and you shove them into a school in rural Pennsylvania, and then disproportionately there's legal troubles that come with campus police and whatever with them, unfortunately it paints the picture to people that don't understand the situation. This is indicative of black people as a whole, which it's not. Well, the same is true with that tier business with relationships. We used to have people that you sort of understood in a monogamous relationship. There's one person for me. So if you're the top 1% most desirable man, you probably ended up with the top 1% most desirable woman. And on, down we go. But now, with the free love movement, the data suggests what happens is the top tier of men are what the top 4 tier of women, 1, 2, 3, and 4 tiers, are all shooting for. And the guys don't care, they'll just sleep with whoever. So they're getting what they want. But that means that the second tier of men aren't with the second tier of women, they're like with the tier 5th and 6th. And then by the time you get down to the 6th tier of men, there's no women left for them. It's not fair to the women because the women have unreasonable expectations and they wonder why these guys that they're sleeping with aren't settling down with them. Well, because they don't feel you're worth it. They don't look at you as the same level. They look for you for easy sex. That's it. And then you have all these men that can't find a woman because the women that traditionally would be similar, compatible with them on a similar desirability scale, they're not interested. That's what happens. I'm not suggesting that we mandate, make it illegal to have premarital sex or anything like that. But as a society, we could push for cultural values that we think are important. And the whole free love movement, and for that matter, embracing of things like pornography, it's been a disaster. And there's a lot of men that see value in someone like Andrew Tate. I don't like the red pill shit. I find that it's the message to give to men and women for that matter is get married, have kids, find one person. Don't give yourself up before marriage. Don't give in to sort of, it's okay, I could just bang whoever I want until I'm in my 30s. It's a mistake. And if you talk to people that are honest, they'll tell you that it's not gratifying. It's not. But I think Andrew's ultimately right that, I heard him saying on whatever the other day, I saw a clip where he was like, this woman was like, we're men's prize, and if we don't think you're worth it, blah, 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 blah. And Andrew's like, yeah, you're not wrong. That's what Andrew Tate says. Andrew Tate's just like, yeah, so make yourself wealthy, make women desire you, and then just fuck them. And then kick them to the curb. They'll come to you. The traditional setup was men courted women. So yeah, it is true. Traditionally, the way it was women or men sought out a woman and tried to impress that woman and put time in. And Andrew Tate's telling men, listen, there's a hack to this system. You just get yourself wealthy, get yourself in shape. We don't have to court anymore. Those days are done. If you make yourself more desirable, then the women will come to you. And you just do whatever you want with them. I think it's shallow advice. It's unfulfilling advice. It really is. But it's not wrong that will... If your goal is just to have sex, then yeah. That's true. Getting physically fit's good anyways, but getting wealthy could independently be good. But your goal, for me, I don't give life advice. I don't know if, I've had young men ask me, I did that show with John Ward there, and the guys there, the young Republicans at State College, they were asking us, about dating advice and shit. I got nothing to say. I mean, my advice is get lucky like me. I don't know. I met a woman that's, I don't go as far as Andrew Wilson, where it's like, in the biblical sense, my wife must be subservient to me and she is my property. Like, that's not what I'm about. But Andrew's not as monstrous as it seems saying that. Because his argument is my wife voluntarily acquiesces to that because she loves me. But for me, I got lucky. I met a woman that I think was beautiful, who I enjoy being around, not just as a romantic partner. We were friends. We had similar interests. We had a similar sense of humor. We had a similar intellectual level. I got lucky. There were things I did that made it more likely for me to get lucky. Like, I wasn't really someone just running around trying to get laid all the time. So I wasn't jumping at trying to just hook up with random chicks and then having bad experiences. And I wasn't in relationships that it was like, well, this sucks, but I'm going to stick it out because that's just what you do. And I was funny. I was very sociable. I was at a lot of places where there were a lot of people and people liked hanging around with me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe my marriage will dissolve someday. Maybe it'll turn out me or my wife's a psychopath. One was cheating on the other and it breaks apart or whatever. I don't know. I hope not. Right now, I feel great. I love seeing my wife. I very rarely want to do things without my wife. My friend group is also my wife's friend group. Sometimes time alone is necessary, but I get that all the time because I work half the week. So, but it's interesting. I think that there are unintended consequences. Should women have the right to choose to enter the workforce? Yeah. Should women and men, for that matter, have the right to choose to have multiple sexual partners? Sure. But then don't get upset if you're the woman playing that game when men turn to people like Andrew Tate and say, we won't play that game too. If it's just who's got the most money, who's banging the hottest people, okay. Don't get it. If you're okay with that as a woman, then you have to be okay with that as men. I think there's a better way. people always would ask, like, well, where can you meet someone? How about try church? I don't know. Tinder doesn't seem like a good choice. Neither does the bar. Yeah, we'll do call-ins later in the week here. Well, that's right, Moonlight. It was frowned upon. Culturally, we put pressure on and said, look, we have sort of a societal expectations. But you're right. People were always, it wasn't like we said women can't work or it's illegal to have premarital sex. There were sodomy laws, but that's a little different. Oh. You don't need laws. You need God. You need culture. Materialism, secularism, that's the problem. I'm not begrudging anyone. Look, I'll take millions of dollars right now. But if the game's just, when I die, I wanted to have accumulated the most amount of stuff, the way your life will look is vastly different than if you say, when I die, I wanted to be a good husband and father. How your life will look will be remarkably different, and to each their own. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. But as a society, I think we're far better if we're prioritizing the good husbands, wives, parents. Did I miss a good comment? Let's look for it. John. I'll have to repost it. I just see him. John says, there's a video of one hot Down syndrome chick at the gym. Then a bunch of women started using Down syndrome filters at the gym. This country. I did see, I have not seen that video, nor have I seen the copying of it. But I did today on X see a video of Adam Carolla's podcast talking about it. And I mean, I just don't know, man. And here's another thing. A lot of these, like, big fucking influencers, like the Red Pill people or something, like, they would have a lot to say about me. Get in shape. Yeah, you're right. If this is my peak potential, like right here, I'm like here. I could be worse, but I'm far from peak of what I could be. But here's the truth. Life's just not about how physically fit you are, how much money you have. There are other things. How many of those people are truly happy? Be careful when you're giving out advice, because maybe your feelings will get hurt because there's some advice that you should be taking. And it's easy if you got a lot of money and you're physically attractive and you're physically fit. It's easy to sit in a pedestal and be like, I'm beyond reproach. Here's how you should do it. And here's how you should do it. And I'm doing it right. You can bullshit everyone else, but you know if you're leading a fulfilling life. You know if you're happy or not. I want to be 80 years old on my front porch with my wife, drinking sugar-free iced tea, watching cars go by. That's what I want. I want to get excited because my great-grandkids are coming to visit. I want to die knowing that I was loved by all of my immediate family members and they thought I was a good person that provided for them. That's what I want. I don't give a fuck if I get the yacht. I'll take the yacht. I'll take it. But I don't really give a shit. And yeah, does that mean that puts me at a disadvantage from the guy that's waking up at 4 a.m. every day saying, how do I get the yacht? How do I bang the supermodel? Yeah, they're probably going to make decisions that make it more likely on average to get the yacht, to get the supermodel chick. I just don't give a shit. Would I restrict people's rights for us to get our birthright to replacement for social engineering? I don't know in what way you would restrict their rights to do that. So, I don't know. I just see a lot of arrogance, like, when it comes to, like, the Tates and shit like that. I'm not even saying they're wrong. And, you know, here's the beauty of life. There are different ways to live. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You could make commentary on the average, right? On average, are you going to be more happy if you cheat than if you're not? No, probably not. You'll probably end up fucking miserable. But, has it ever been possible that there was someone? I suppose. My assumption is most women would be happier having kids, having a family. I'm thrilled that my wife and me both were on the same page. We didn't think we'd be able to have kids for medical reasons. We wanted them for a long time. We had a difficult time. We've had one son. I don't know medically without interventions if it would be possible for us to have another. Plus, I'm working every day, so I'm never home anyways. But once we had a kid, we were in a position where we were both on the same page that we wanted my wife to stay home with my son. She worked a job that she enjoyed at a bank. Maybe once my son's older and he's going to school full time, maybe she'll get another job or a hobby or whatever. But we were both on the same page. We were lucky. But so much of it's just this, like, it just reeks of just sort of, I don't know, just arrogance and, it's like, I don't know. There are interesting points to be had, though. Like, if it's all about free love and just hook up, okay, that's fine. If that's your, I used to say, I knew a girl in college who was quite promiscuous. I never did anything with this girl, but she was an acquaintance of mine. And she was very open that she was uninterested in any sort of committed relationship. She just wanted to have fun and sleep with a bunch of people. And one night she was drunk and was like, asked me if I thought that was immoral. And I was like, I think that it's a mistake that you'll regret maybe someday when you finally want to settle down with a person. But on a scale of morality, at least you're open. I guess it's better than dating someone and then cheating a bunch of times. But what does it matter what I think morally? I don't know if that person's happy now or if they regret some of those decisions. Yeah, it wasn't really my style, Moonlight. So, I mean, for me, it's like, I don't know. I think about it all the time. Not like that, but I think of stupid little shit. I've never murdered anyone. I've never assaulted anyone. If you could get a mind reader machine and see everything I've ever done, I don't know where I stack up as a person who's done shitty things compared to everyone else. I don't know. Everybody likes to think they're a good person, but am I? I don't know. I mean, I'm better than a killer. I'm better than a fucking assaulter, I guess, but I regret shit. I regret shit I did in school. I regret, like, making fun of someone. I was pretty ruthless in high school. Like, I had a sharp tongue. If I thought that someone deserved it, I would fucking make fun of them. I was merciless. And I look back on some of the times when I'm sitting alone, I'm like, what a fucking asshole I am. Why would I say that? What if I help contribute to someone? Even now I'll have that moment. That kid the other day that said I was running from him, that called in. I forget not everyone's like my friends, right? Like my friends, I'll be like, oh, you bald fucking piece of shit, fucking blah, 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 blah. And we just laugh about it. But not everybody's like that, man. Like, some dude calls in and he's being a smug asshole, but he's young. And I'm like, go fuck yourself, you fucking loser, blah, blah, blah. You 13-year-old sounding motherfucker, blah, blah, blah. Go fuck yourself. Like, I don't know. Like, I think about that shit. I'm like, I still think about that fucking OnlyFans girl. I do think that we should mock them for what they're doing. I think that it should be shamed. But did I go too far? I don't know. In the moment, I'm always treating everyone that calls in like my equal. And so, but I think about that shit afterwards. I'm like, fuck, is that shitty? Am I shit? Am I an asshole? I don't know. I don't know. So I'll be damned though if I want to make my public persona like the Tates or something that's like, ooh. But little pinch of fear. Anyways, I'm just rambling at this point, so I'm gonna head out. Tomorrow night should be streaming around 7 p.m. Eastern. Maybe I'll be moderating this debate between Grid Motorsports and Average Debate Enjoyer. Hopefully not. Hopefully not because I wouldn't enjoy that. That would be fine. But hopefully for their sake, they get Andrew Wilson to do it because that'll be more eyeballs on them. But if they reach out to me early enough in the day, I will do that. If not, we'll just do a regular show. It'll be an exciting day for me because I'm going with my wife to take my son his first open house at the school that he'll be going to. So I'm very excited to see how he feels about that. Hopefully he's interested. Hopefully it's something that he'll like. I really hope. I hope he enjoys school. The particular Catholic school that we're sending him to, he'll have a very small class size. It's the one my wife and her family went to. Hopefully he'll make friends for life there. And that it'll be something I could put in experience for him. So, all right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll talk to you all soon. As always, have a good one.